and welcome to you all to Our Africa. Well, this is the show that aims to unite all Africans across this beautiful continent. I'm your host, Matapelo Moloi, and today we take a closer look at African fashion and how it continues to shape how the world dresses.
African fashion might have not been noticed in the past, but over the last couple of years, it has made an impact on some of the global trends. Some of the most talented designers have emerged from this continent to take over runways around the world and showcase their fashion alongside some of the most established brands. Some of the most accomplished fashion designers like David Tlale have showcased at New York Fashion Week, proving that as Africans we can compete with the world's best, pound for pound. In recent years, we've seen Africans also establish their own fashion shows, recognizing and celebrating their own talents instead of waiting for the world to take us seriously. What has also emerged recently is African designers crossing borders and trading their collections within the African continent. Some have even collaborated and shared ideas to help establish their labels. Tula Cindy, a South African designer from Klerksdorp, has been able to attract both the local and international markets and plans to take his brands across Africa.
Well, with the kind of collection that I create, which is a ready-to-wear collection, we sell in Angola, we sell in Nigeria, we sell in the UK as well. But we're always looking for more distributors because the kind of product I create has got an international appeal, and it's not just limited to a South African aesthetic. So my desire is really to work even more within the continent, especially Kenya. We're going to be in a store in Kenya at the end of August, but that's really exciting stuff. Well, my textiles are sourced from everywhere around the world. My cottons locally and the wools locally, but I searched the world, from Spain to Turkey to the Far East, because raw materials is really kind of where we start off, but we produce everything here in South Africa. We manufacture everything in South Africa. We design everything in South Africa. We create the IP in South Africa, so we're in the job of taking raw materials and creating beautiful value-added garments in South Africa and selling them in South Africa and around the world. About 40% of our fabric is sourced from South Africa.
Although Tula is successful and has his own store in Rosebank and in his hometown, he found acquiring capital to establish his brand quite a challenge.
We have very, very large challenges. Capacity is one thing, because we manufacture our own clothing. So I have a staff of about 18 that produces clothing for me. And but to get into a big retailer, you need to be able to produce a whole lot more than that. But to be able to grow to that, you need working capital where you can buy more machinery, employ more people, and just have enough capital to grow. So access to capital is it's a big challenge for most entrepreneurs. And it's one thing that hopefully our funding institutions like the IDC, the NEF, CETA, CIFA, hopefully they can do a lot more, especially within textiles and design. Not just textiles, but design, which is the most important element of fashion for me, because it's where we include the design and we take raw materials, input South African design, and come up with a very, very beautiful product at the end. What the government should be doing is really funding design entrepreneurs from college going forward. It's very, very easy. Lots of other countries do it. Basically, if you give 10 companies 1 million rands each, even if 9 of them fall apart, the one that is successful will be 100 million rand company that will pay tax of 30 million rands. So it will make up for the losses. So funding should be given out a lot more easily, because black entrepreneurs are not doing this for fun. For us, it's do or die. So the success rate is a lot higher. And it should actually be going without saying that each black design entrepreneur, when they want to go into the industry, the access to market, access to funding should be something that is easily achievable for them, because they want to succeed, because we are feeding our own families here. We're not doing this because it's a beautiful hobby. We're doing this because it's our passion and we created it, and the stakes are a lot higher. And on top of that, government should be making sure that all of these shopping centers that are populated the entire country are compelled to have at least 30% of the tenants being black-owned businesses. Those are the two things. That's access to market and access to funding. That is all we need, and that we have none of at the moment. Funding is impossible to access, even for somebody like me, who's highly educated, highly intelligent, great track record, who's well known. It's nearly impossible. So anybody else, I don't know how they do it. So the challenges are there, but this is a market that can grow really strong, really fast, and it includes young people. And it's one of the few industries that the more you grow, the more people you need to employ. Other industries are not the same. You look at other industries, even car manufacturing, even agriculture. The more you grow, there's machinery to replace people. In fashion, you cannot replace people. So our growth does mean more jobs. Other industries, you buy a new machine that can replace 100 people on the field. So a focus on fashion is highly, highly important. Government, please support fashion design enterprises.
And within our borders, there's various talents that have explored Africa and in sourcing materials and learning the different cultures that now influence their designs.
Designers from all over the continent are now applying their trade in South Africa, adding diversity and experience for consumers within our borders. Some of the local designers have also gone out of their way to explore the continent in order to serve clients who'd like to buy clothes made for Africans.
Hi, my name is Abigail Demula. I'm a Malawian designer, born in Zambia, and I live in South Africa, Johannesburg.
Hi, I'm Siti Somokhashani, owner and founder of Bits of Africa.
Most designers start off at an early age showing interest in the world of fashion, and once bitten, they never really go back.
I've always loved clothes, and from a young age, my mom bought me a machine when I was like 9, 10 years old. And so I'd experiment, buy fabrics and whatnot to make for my dolls and whatnot, and I liked it. And then I made stuff for myself eventually, and people liked it, and they're like, oh, can I have that? I was like, oh, okay, we can make money off of this thing.
Having lived in Ghana for a few years, coming back home, I was just so fascinated by so much history and all of the beautiful stuff that the continent offers. So that's how the idea came about.
The cultural diversity within our continent influences designers when it comes to their style.
So Alumba is my surname backwards. Yeah, this business is personal to me. It's very close to my heart. So I wanted something personal attached to it. I didn't want just another name, you know. Yeah, I wanted to feel like a part of me. I would describe my brand as for bold people, unique people, and modest people. For me, there's a quote that comes up every time. I don't remember who it's by, but basically style is a way of saying who you are without having to speak. And I'm not much of a talker really, so I'd rather you see what I am.
My designs incorporate the African lifestyle. You know, how you decorate your home, how you decorate your body in terms of what you put on your body, and basically African fashion sense.
To establish a brand, it is not easy, and most African designers are faced with various challenges.
I think that two that come up off the top of my head is firstly competitors. So you have your store like Mr. Price that will sell a t-shirt for like 50 Rand. It's okay for that person, but for you as a designer, it's a bit of a punch in the face, you know, because you go to the fabric store and you're looking for t-shirting that's good quality. You're gonna pay at least 50 Rand a meter for it, and you need like a meter for, you know, t-shirting. That's excluding your cottons, that's excluding your ribbing, you know, for the neckline for the t-shirt. So at the end of the day, you're not really making a profit, if you get what I mean, because all that money is going towards the capital that you need to buy whatever it is. So you're not really making a profit. In that sense, it's a loss. And secondly, I think mentorship and internships, you know, for young entrepreneurs or designers, it would be great, you know, to just lend a helping hand where you can, yeah.
It's very difficult. It's quite challenging. South Africa is fortunate enough to have everything from all over the world. So when you're establishing a brand, starting with finding your clientele and keeping your clientele by presenting them with the best of what Africa has to offer.
I found it very challenging for the simple fact that I didn't make wise choices in starting out for funding. You know, when I started out, I decided, no, my job is not doing it, I'm not enjoying it, I'd rather do something else. So I left right out. I didn't necessarily have capital to start with. So for that reason, it was very challenging.
It's important for our people to embrace who they are by proudly wearing clothes from their motherland.
I have a wide range of clientele, from your matric students looking for matric gown dresses, and then I have your working class women, your working class men, so anywhere between 18 to like 50s or so, 60s, yeah, anywhere between there.
The idea is to introduce what Africa has to offer to Africans. First and most importantly, we need to appreciate what we already have, and understanding some of the African sense and some of the African art that we already have and embrace it. That is what the idea is. And while my target market is quite niche, because it's the people who really appreciate and understand what we have, because we have a lot and we've got a lot to offer. Yes, the idea is that then we are building an online boutique, so that's where we'll have our offering.
It's an African issue. It's not a South African issue. It's not a Malawian issue. It's an African issue. We don't necessarily look out for each other. Like if you look at the States, they're very good at promoting their own stuff. They're very good at promoting each other and collaborating, and I think that's where we're missing the mark.
One of the things CT Saw does is use authentically African manufactured material for her designs, having traveled 15 of the countries on the continent.
One of the things that I do is that I travel throughout the African continent looking for great designs, new innovation, and also just learning a lot about the continent and what it is that we produce. This is Basim Rich fabric, mostly found in Western Africa. This particular one I got from Mali, and this is how the fabric will begin. And after you've designed the outfit that you want and you've cut and everything, you will do the embroidery, which the Malians really go to town about their embroidery, and they create the most fascinating and elaborate patterns. You get all sorts of different beautiful designs from Udin, and you make beautiful garments out of Udin because it's a quality fabric. The kitenge is made in Tanzania. These ones are made in Tanzania from Morogoro. Very good quality, breathable, easy, very soft. And all of these fabrics I'm referring to are 100% cotton. And with Kente, we actually came up with this beautiful cocktail jacket. Normally in Ghana, a Kente would be adorned in a carbine slit, but this was a different take on what else you can do with Kente. Okay. This is cover, and then you get your slit, which is a West African really in design. This I stumbled upon when I was last in Senegal. So this is the Senegalese kente, which is quite interesting, but you find that in Benin, in Ivory Coast, there is a variation of hand-woven fabrics throughout that area of the world. So I find it quite interesting that, everybody's coming up with, they have got their own hand-woven fabrics, and they are just beautiful. The colors are vibrant and just really lovely.
While traveling, she also collects accessories and items like shoes, baskets, blankets, and hats that fascinate her along the way.
This would be adorned on a new bride on their wedding day, as her family would be taking her over to a new husband's family. So this is made at the foot of the Atlas Mountain in Morocco. These are handmade in Ghana. A lot of my clients, I sell them as house shoes, but a lot of my clients tell me, you're joking, these make beautiful driving shoes. So versatile, things that you can have in your wardrobe, and you know that they were handmade and you are helping the continent, produce more. I've got very nice cowhide purses, makeup bags that came from Morocco, and some of the clashes that, ladies, we love our clashes. So all of these products actually came from Morocco, and they're quite user-friendly. I have mud cloth cushions, which I have started making. This is a Moroccan basket. It is beautiful and handmade, and it's quite nice to be carrying things around. The history of our people and baskets, not only are they used to carry many different things, but in ancient times, baskets were actually used to store food. products and that kind of thing in the household. So they are versatile and they can be used for very many purposes. Mudianyewe, I think it is the most recognized accessory throughout the world. These are from Lesotho. And what I found interesting is that when I was traveling in Mali, I found their variation of mudianyewe with leather, trimmings on it. So in as much as we want to look at the differences, we are really, as Africans, very similar. I mean, a design from Southern Africa to a design from West Africa, and literally, you can see the design elements at the core are the same, making us the same people.
And with all of that, it's time to take a very short break. When we do return, though, we'll meet an established fashion designer plying their trade right here at home. To stay with us.